Today, we're diving into a story that's often left out of the history books. It's about a time and a place that literally laid the foundations for our modern world, all fueled by one incredibly powerful idea: collaboration. I mean, just think about the tools that run our world. Fundamental concepts like algebra, the scientific method itself, and even the very basics of modern medicine. So where did all these revolutionary ideas actually come from? Well, for a long, long time, the center of the intellectual world wasn't in Europe. It was in Baghdad. We are talking about the Islamic Golden Age. This was a period from about the 8th to the 14th century where science, culture, and learning just absolutely flourished. So what was the secret sauce? What conditions created this incredible explosion of knowledge?
Well, it was a unique combination of three key ingredients. First, you had a culture that truly valued knowledge, inspired by the Quran's very first revealed word, read. Second, there was this vast empire that acted like a crossroads for ideas, connecting all the ancient wisdom of the Greeks, Persians, and Indians. And third, and this is huge, a massive state-funded project to translate pretty much all of the world's knowledge into Arabic. And the heart of this entire enterprise, the real engine room of discovery, was a single legendary institution in Baghdad, the House of Wisdom, or Beit al-Hikmah.
Now, I want you to forget any image you have of a dusty, quiet library. This place was something else entirely. Think of it as the world's first true think tank. It was a research university, a translation bureau, and a cutting-edge observatory, all buzzing with activity right under one roof. The House of Wisdom thrived on an idea that was frankly radical for its time: diversity. This was no exclusive club. It was a crucible where scholars from every faith and background you can imagine, Muslims, Christians, Jews, Zoroastrians, all worked side by side. The core belief was that knowledge was universal, and the best ideas come from challenging each other, no matter the source. I mean, get this. The head of translation for all the critical Greek medical texts was a celebrated Nestorian Christian scholar named Hunayn ibn Ishaq.
You see, their process didn't just hoard knowledge, it supercharged it. First, they translated everything they could find. But they didn't just stop there. Next, they would rigorously debate and critique those ancient texts. And that, finally, led them to experiment, to innovate, and to create entirely new knowledge.
This incredible ecosystem produced some of history's greatest minds. But here's the key thing to remember. These weren't isolated geniuses. They were the products of a culture built on shared discovery. Remember algebra from the beginning? Well, meet Muhammad ibn Musa al-Khwarizmi. He didn't just give us a branch of math, he created the systematic way of solving problems that powers every computer program we use today. In fact, the word algorithm comes directly from his name, and algebra comes from the title of his most famous book. It's incredible.
Okay, now let's talk about the scientific method. For centuries, the accepted Greek theory was that our eyes worked by literally shooting out invisible rays to see things. Then a scholar named Ibn al-Haytham came along, and he questioned everything.
Ibn al-Haytham proved that vision happens when light enters the eye, but it's how he proved it that changed the world. He developed a radical new process. You form a hypothesis, you test it with experiments, and then you analyze the results. Sound familiar? Yep, today we call that the scientific method. He was, arguably, the world's very first true scientist. And what about modern medicine? A scholar known as Ibn Sina, or Avicenna in the West, wrote a medical encyclopedia so comprehensive, so revolutionary, that it became the standard medical text in European universities for, get this, over 500 years. He described infectious diseases, the importance of quarantines, and even early forms of clinical trials. Now, this knowledge didn't stay locked away. A great transmission began, a passing of the torch of discovery from the Islamic world to a Europe that was just starting to emerge from the Dark Ages.
And the chain of events is just so clear. In the 12th century, cities like Toledo, Spain, became massive translation centers. But this time, they were converting texts from Arabic into Latin. This huge influx of science, math, and philosophy from scholars like al-Khwarizmi and Ibn Sina directly fueled the European Renaissance. You might think this is all just ancient history, but the echo of the House of Wisdom is all around us, and it's embedded in the very language we use for science.
I mean, just consider these words. Algorithm, from al-Khwarizmi. Algebra, from his book.
Alkali, zenith, almanac, azimuth. These are all words of Arabic origin, and they are absolutely fundamental to modern science and technology. This isn't just someone else's history, this is our shared heritage.
And that leaves us with a final thought. The House of Wisdom was built on state funding for pure research, an obsession with translating global knowledge, and a radical openness to collaboration between different cultures and faiths. So, what would it take to build a new one today? What would we focus on? And maybe more importantly, who would we invite?